Hello, my pottery posse. How are you today? I hope you're doing great because every day is a great day to play with some clay. Except today, because we're not doing clay. Guess what we're doing? These. These are what I like to call mug rugs. And today I'm going to teach you how to make them. So without further ado, let's get started. So what we need is our cotton batting. Here's the inside, the back, and then these 4 pieces right here are going to be kind of put together a little bit like this. And as you can see, these are kind of stacked in a way where one sits on top of the other and then the other part is on the back. And I will show you how all these are put together in a little bit. But then we are going to sew around the outside just like this. As you can see, the inside is actually on the back right now, and on the inside is actually what's going to be on the very back. Then we're going to flip it inside out, how I just showed you. Now you can see that the blue is on the inside and then the pretty is on the outside. Then we're going to sew along the outside and it will look like this, which is so super cute. It's super easy. So yeah, I guess let's go ahead and get into it. I have this beautiful all natural cotton batting and I've got my scissors. So I'm going to go ahead and lay all this out, and I have my sample piece right here, but as you can see, I kind of cut it crooked. Anyways, these are 5-inch squares that are already pre-cut. So I'm going to just use this as a guide and then cut a whole bunch more. Now it's easier if you fold the fabric so that, you're cutting a whole bunch at one time and everything is nice and even. And of course, you always want to check to make sure that everything fits just right. It's always better to have the cotton batting and the inside bigger than you think you need it, just in case your fabric starts to kind of move around as you're sewing it, because this is a very thick project. Okay, now I have all my pieces together. I've got my back, I've got my inside piece, which I don't particularly care for. I have my cotton batting, and then I have my 4 other pieces that are really nice and pretty, folded flat and ironed. And we're gonna make it look like this. So here's my backing. The inside should be something that you don't particularly care for, or it's just scrap. So here's my inside. Now let me show you how it's stacked. So your inside piece actually needs to be face up or down. It really doesn't matter that much. We're gonna put our cotton batting right next to it, and we're gonna sandwich that with our outside fabric. Now, if you put it inside like this and you put it backwards, it's not going to show like it should. So, seems counterproductive, but you wanna have the pretty side up. And then we want to look at which half looks the best. So I'm just covering up halves and looking to see what I want to cover up and what I don't want to cover up. Make sure everything is lined up nice and neat. And then the part that I want to show, I'm going to face down. And make sure that you are intentional about what pieces you're putting where. And as you can see, I have 2 checkered pieces. One is green and one is red. So I'm putting those squares opposite each other. And then the ones that are white, red, and green, I'm putting on the opposite squares as well. And as you can see, this last piece, I just flip one up and put the other underneath, making sure that all the pieces are touching in the inside corners. So this is very nice and tight. Now what you want to do is sew in the direction to where your foot is not going to accidentally push up the piece of fabric. So we're going to sew this direction. Make sure you do your lock stitch and go all the way down. And once you get to the corner, make sure that your needle is down in the fabric. Lift the foot and turn it on its corner. Once you get all the way done, do your lock stitch and then cut off the excess thread. You should have something that looks like this. Now what we want to do is trim the excess. Make sure that you don't accidentally cut your stitching, because if you accidentally cut a thread, it's all going to come unwound. So we're gonna cut the corners at an angle so that there's not too much fabric bunching up whenever we flip this inside out. And then just trim along the edge, making sure that every little piece is sewn together. And now what we're going to do is flip this guy inside out, which is actually now going to be right sides out. Now, once this is all flipped inside out, we're gonna take a chopstick and push out those corners. Now, don't push too hard because you can actually break that thread and push all the pieces through. Then you're gonna have to turn it all the way back right sides out. Well, technically it's inside out, and just re-sew it, but don't wanna push too hard. Finish with that. We should have the inside as the inside. So there you can see that fabric. Now I did it backwards so that you can't see the print very well. And then we have our actual outside as the actual outside. Now I'm going to show you one more time how I did this, just so that you have everything done the right way. So I've got my inside piece, then I've got my batting, and then I'm making sure that the pretty side of the back is facing up on top of my batting. And now what I'm going to do is stack all 4 of my pieces, making sure that the prettiest sides are facing the outside piece. So I'm going to lay down a piece that the pattern doesn't necessarily matter which part is showing. Then I'm going to use this piece and look at what is the prettiest. I've decided this one looks prettiest, so I'm going to make sure that the folded side is on the inside and put that pretty side facing down. Again, I've got to figure out which side is going to look the best, and I think it's this one. So I'm going to put that down, fold it back, and fold the other piece back so that that pretty side can be facing down onto my backing. Now it's time to sew, making sure that that folded side we're going to just sew right over instead of sewing into it. Do my lock stitch and go all the way around. Once you get to the corner, make sure that your needle is down into the fabric, lift the foot, and then turn it and sew all the way down again. Once you get to the end, go ahead and do your lock stitch. Should look like this. Now while you work on trimming yours, I am going to go ahead and do a whole stack of these because I have a bunch to do. And now that I'm done sewing all of them, I have to cut them. So remember, we cut the corner at an angle, making sure not to cut any of those threads, and then cut off all the excess. And that way it's not super bulky when we turn it inside out. Now we need to turn these inside out, and don't forget your chopstick. We need to make sure that those corners are nice and pushed out. So as I'm flipping these inside out, I'm just throwing them on a pile, and y'all, look at how crazy wobbly this stack gets. I didn't even realize how many I was making. So here they are. They're really nice, beautiful, turned inside out, but we need to press these and make sure that everything is nice and flat. Now, check this out. Whenever I started stacking these, you can literally see them compressing because I have started ironing, which is crazy. Okay, now that we've got this all beautifully ironed, we need to go and do that last top stitch, and then we're done. Now with this top stitch, you can kind of feel where that extra bulk of fabric is, and your foot's not really gonna let you go past that. And so I kind of use that as my guide. So I'm just putting my foot down exactly inside that little area. And you really wanna try to be precise where you put your lock stitch. So don't accidentally zigzag and make that visible. Try to make sure that the lock stitch is right on top of your regular stitch. And then do your regular stitch all the way down, making sure that once you get to the corner, your needle is down in the fabric. Pick up your foot and turn it 90 degrees, put your foot down, and then continue on with your stitch. Once you get back to the very end, make sure you don't go past your initial lock stitch. Do another lock stitch, and then you're done. Now the reason you want to be precise is because this is the final stitch that is going to show on the front. So you want to just make sure that it's nice and even and straight and you don't have any little mess ups. Sometimes on a darker fabric, I'll actually try to find a space that's the same color as my thread, which is just white. So I'll try to find a white area to do my back stitch, and then that way it's less visible, it's less noticeable. There you have it. We are all done and these look so good. I hope you enjoyed it. I absolutely love making these and I love using them. They are such a great little gift and it's made with love. So yeah, go out and create and have fun. Thank you all so much for joining me for this awesome tutorial. I hope you learned something. I hope you love these. I guess that's it for today, but until the next one, stay creative, my friends. Bye. It's hot out here. Just waiting. I'm just waiting. Shut up, Kevin. That dog is going to drive me insane.